Welcome to a special episode of the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. Over the past 7 years, this podcast, along with numerous other communications of Ohio Farm Bureau, has been led by a guiding voice to help ask the important questions and connect farmers to the general public. That voice belongs to Ty Higgins, now former Senior Director of Communications.
Sounds so weird.
And the incoming General Manager of Ohio AgNet and Ohio Country Journal. Ty, welcome to the podcast.
This is so strange. Thank you very much. It's good to be here, and it is bittersweet, right? I mean, this past 7 years has been amazing, and it's allowed me so many opportunities that we'll talk about, I'm sure, during this conversation, but also prepared me for what's next. That's one thing that Farm Bureau does maybe too well, is they prepare you for your next adventure, and so I appreciate everything that I've been able to accomplish here, and look forward to taking that over to the team at Ohio AgNet and Ohio's Country Journal.
Well, I think you said it best, right? It kind of feels weird to welcome you here, but what a great chance to kind of talk about your experience and where you're headed next. You kind of already dived into it, but you've poured so much into this role and into this organization. And I would love to just kind of hear some of those memories or some of those experiences you've had that you're going to take with you to your next chapter.
Yeah, and water quality is something we've worked on well before I got here. But the strides we were able to make, when I first started in 2019, we had a meeting and formed a coalition called the Ohio Agriculture Conservation Initiative. And you might think, oh, that's something that Farm Bureau does all the time, but the other organizations in that room would have never sat at the table with us before this meeting. And so to have the environmental groups and along with our friends in academia and in conservation and of course agriculture, to all to get together in one room to think about ways to find the solutions to the water quality challenges we faced here in Ohio over the last several years, decades really, and to be able to form that alliance with those partners that we normally would not have conversations with, I think was a big step forward for water quality in Ohio. And we're seeing the results here 7 years later with what the Ohio Agriculture Conservation Initiative was able to do. Now, the one thing I'm most proud of that also started right around 2019. So we had a very wet spring. About 1.5 million acres of corn and soybeans didn't get planted at all. And we're seeing a lot of stress now in agriculture, no doubt about it, but things were pretty stressful there during that time. And mental health became a focus for us. At the time, Yvonne Lasisko, who is the vice president of policy, came to my cubicle. I was like 4 or 5 weeks into my job. She said, "Higgins, you're on mental health." And at the time, I really didn't know anything about it, didn't know how to communicate about it. And obviously, it's something that's been talked about for generations, right? I remember being a kid and talking about farmers and hardships and making unfortunate decisions that impacted their family's future. So it was always something that I knew was out there. The stigma was very, very big back in the 80s, still is now. But I think that what we've been able to do over the last 7 years by working with the Ohio Agriculture Mental Health Alliance, to be able to work with, again, industry partners, commodity groups, Ohio State, but also bringing in the Ohio Department of Agriculture, Ohio Department of Health, those state agencies that maybe can help us move that conversation a little bit further along. I've seen it. I've seen the reaction when I talk about mental health back in 2020, 2021 to today. And the response from me even mentioning those two words in agriculture, mental health, has changed dramatically. And more people are willing to hear about it. More people are willing to talk about it. And we made some fantastic strides in that space, and hopefully have gotten the message across to farmers that they are so much more than their farm, that their value is so much more than dollars or bushels or acres. It's who they are to their family, right? Father, mom, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, cousin. That is resonating, and we have taken so many swings at that brick wall of stigma that we're knocking it down, and I'm excited about that continuing to move forward. I'll continue to be an advocate for that push in this new role with Ohio AgNet and Ohio's Country Journal.
That's good to hear. I think, like you said, the more we talk about it,
Yeah.
the easier it gets, or at least just having those conversations get easier. And I think it's been great to just hear and see, even from a distance, how much work you've been doing with that. So definitely looking forward to how you continue those conversations, for sure. Now, there's one big tie between between your job here and your next role, and that's sharing the story of farmers and rural communities. Where did you find that passion, and why is that passion for sharing farmers' stories so important to you?
So this is my career is an alternate to being a farmer. I grew up on two farms. My dad's side had a dairy farm, and my mom's side had a cow-calf operation, both in Licking County. So I was around agriculture a good part of my early life. But things didn't work out for me to continue on with either of those farms. The dairy farm in the 80s, we all know what happened then in farming, and it didn't survive. And the cow-calf operation died when my grandpa passed. So this is my way, because I had this urge deep inside my gut to be a part of agriculture and the community. This is my way of doing that. This is taking what God gave me I don't have any talents, but I feel like being a voice for this industry is something I'm very passionate about, and I think that's why I'm here. And so I can't farm, and I make the joke all the time when I hop in tractor cabs and combine cabs that I get to have all the fun that farmers have, but they have all the overhead. I just get to hop in and enjoy the ride for a couple minutes at a time. But I'm so proud of Ohio agriculture, and I'm so proud of the farmers that I've become friends with, true friends with, farmers all across the state over my career. And so that's how I got here. It's that urge inside my gut, just as farmers have it in theirs, to wake up every morning and do what they do best. And this is my way of representing them and the industry as a whole.
I think that just, looking back at your career and just watching that, like how true that seems to be for everyone, and noticing how passionate you are about sharing those stories and all the incredible work you've done in the past and the work you're going to continue to do. Speaking of that, one of the, I think, most iconic things about your brand is especially your backgrounds with all the different hats. And I think the same thing, right? Like, I think it shows the truth of how many hats you've got to wear across your career. So I guess the question here is, for that next generation, or for someone who's wanting to find a job, whether it's in ag communications, farm broadcasting, or really just wanting to share the story of agriculture, what would your advice be for them to kind of get in and get their feet wet?
Yeah, for most of us, when we hear the word communications, the first thing we think of is talking, right? Getting that message across. And I've told my son for years, and I think this rings true for communication specialists as well, is God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? I think the key to being a successful communicator is listening. I think that many of the strategies that I've come up with and my colleagues here at Ohio Farm Bureau have come up with when it comes to communicating what we're trying to accomplish and what Ohio agriculture really is to the general public is by listening to experts on our side, and also what the public is concerned about or what their questions are. You can learn so much more if you just don't talk for a second and just listen. As much as we want to scream to the rafters how great Ohio agriculture is, and it is, we really can't get a message to resonate to those we want to communicate with unless we listen. So I encourage those getting into it and wanting to do something similar to what you and I do, is just to take a deep breath and just listen, and then craft your message from there.
Now, as you step into your next chapter of Ohio AgNet's general manager, what are you most excited for?
Well, this is a team that I was with 7 years ago. I came from Ohio AgNet and Ohio's Country Journal to Farm Bureau, and now I'm going back to lead that team. And the team hasn't changed a whole lot. They know me, I know them, I know their strengths, and I know the brand, and I care about the brand, right? I mean, quite honestly, I love the brand. What was started so many years ago with a guy named Ed Johnson, who my grandpa and I would watch on Saturday mornings when I was a kid. Obviously, it's not the same brand, but it's the same family that brought this brand up of Ohio AgNet and Ohio's Country Journal. It's hard to replace a guy like Dale Mignot. It was hard to replace a guy like Joe Corneli 7 years ago when he retired. And here I am. I must be a glutton for punishment to want to replace legends. But I hope that I can continue Dale's legacy, what he has been able to build here over the last 3 decades as a farm broadcaster, and still put my own mark on things as we move the organization forward. That's what I'm most excited about, is getting to this very, very talented team and hopefully being able to take all of our talents collectively to the next level and be able to give our audience, our listeners, and our readers a reason to continue to be listeners and readers and grow that audience and grow that brand. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. I can't tell you how many people on the other side called me when we made the announcement that I was going over there to be the GM, and they said the band is back together. It's hard because I have family here now too at Farm Bureau. Without a doubt, you're going to realize that you're going to create a family here with this organization. And I'm leaving this family and going to my old family. But that's part of what makes this organization great. They bring you in and they treat you like family, and they make it hard to leave. But I'm not going very far. You're still going to see me around all the circles that Farm Bureau is in, and I'll still be in the office every once in a while doing some work. So I'm not going very far. Just going to look and sound a little different, but at the same time familiar, because it's going to be the way it sounded 7 years ago when I was on that network, and just looking forward to getting back to that team and doing some great things with them.
That's great to hear, and I think you hit it on the head, right? This is the Farm Bureau family.
Yeah.
And speaking for that family, and all the listeners who've got to tune into you, how excited we are to see you take on this next leadership role and all the things you're going to accomplish with that team as well. And also, it's just been such a unique experience, right? Getting to step into someone else's role and seeing all the things that they've done, but also getting to see how much you care for people here, how much you care for Ohio agriculture. And I just think how lucky I am to watch that and getting to see that. So it'd be exciting, and I'm glad that you're not going too far.
Well, and let me tell you, Farm Bureau and the media relations communications side, it's in good hands. He's done great over the last 2 months of getting caught up, and I tell you, what do I tell you about this job? Don't do it the way I do it. Put your stamp on it, take it to a new level.
Thank you.
You will.
Thanks. I'm excited for it. Now, before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to tell our listeners?
See you down the road.
That's Ty Higgins, the incoming general manager at Ohio AgNet and Ohio's Country Journal.
Find previous podcasts at ohiofarmbureau.org and search podcast.